You're asleep, completely out, drooling on your pillow, probably snoring, zero awareness of the world around you. You are, by every biological definition, helpless. Now imagine you're not in your bedroom. You're in a tent, a thin piece of nylon, embarrassingly thin, separating you from a forest full of animals that could absolutely end you if they felt like it. Lions, bears, wolves, leopards, creatures that can hear your heartbeat from across a clearing, smell you from a mile away, and see perfectly in the dark while you're just lying there with your eyes closed. And yet, you wake up in the morning, every single time. Why? Seriously. Think about this for a second. A sleeping human is just meat. Slow meat. Quiet meat. Meat that can't fight back, can't run, can barely even register that something's happening until it's already happening. You'd think predators would be circling campsites every night like some kind of all-you-can-eat buffet. But they're not. They almost never are. And the reason they're not? It's not one thing. It's never just one thing. There are several layered explanations, each one more fascinating than the last. And together, they paint this picture of a strange, invisible agreement between humans and the wild. An agreement that goes back further than civilization, further than agriculture, further than anything we normally think of as human history. This goes deep. Let's go. Start with the thing that sounds like an ego trip, but is actually just biology. You are terrifying. Not you specifically. You, right now, watching or reading this, are probably fine. Normal. Not particularly scary. But humans as a species, to predators, we are genuinely, deeply, evolutionarily frightening. Not in a way that's obvious from looking at us. We don't have claws, we're not fast, we're not particularly strong for our size, we can't even see well in the dark. On paper, we're kind of a disaster as an animal. And yet, a study published in 2019 by researchers at UC Santa Cruz found something remarkable. They played audio recordings of human voices near mountain lions, also called pumas or cougars, in the Santa Cruz Mountains in California. Normal human voices, people just talking. And the pumas fled. They fled at the same rate they fled from the sound of dogs barking, and in many cases even faster. These are animals that take down full-grown deer like it's nothing. Animals that can drag a kill up a steep hill. Animals that are objectively absolute units of predatory efficiency. And they heard a podcast and ran. That wasn't a one-off result. The same research showed that pumas abandoned food they'd already killed, food they were in the process of eating, when they heard human voices nearby. They left their meal on the ground and moved away from the sound. From a survival standpoint, that's an enormous cost. A predator giving up a kill is basically working for free. The calories burned to make that kill don't get replenished. And they still did it, because the discomfort of being near humans outweighed the cost of hunger. That result confirmed something biologists had been noticing across multiple continents and multiple species for a long time. Lions in Africa's Kruger National Park reduce their movement in areas with higher human activity. Tigers in India give wide berths to villages even when those villages sit in the middle of prime habitat. Jaguars in the Amazon have adjusted their movement patterns to avoid locations where humans are regularly present. These aren't animals that are physically incapable of attacking. They're animals that have decided, at a species level, over thousands of generations, that being near us isn't worth it. And the reason for that is one of the most brutal facts in natural history. We have been hunting and killing large predators for so long and so effectively that we have literally shaped their genetics. Think about the scope of that. Humans have been active predators for somewhere around 2 million years. We hunted mammoths out of existence. We wiped megafauna off entire continents. Giant sloths, woolly rhinos, saber-toothed cats, cave bears. Species that had survived ice ages vanished within thousands of years of humans arriving in their territories. In North America, we hunted wolves to near extinction across the entire continental landmass. We eliminated mountain lions from the entire eastern half of the continent. We shot, trapped, and poisoned predators so systematically and for so long that the ones alive today are descended from the animals that were most careful around us. That's not a metaphor. That's natural selection. The lions that approached human camps too boldly got killed. The wolves that preyed on human settlements got hunted down. The predators that kept their distance, that treated humans as something to avoid rather than something to engage with, they survived. They reproduced. They passed that inherited caution to their offspring. Over thousands of years and thousands of generations, that caution became biological. It became instinct. It became the baseline behavior of every large predator that shares space with humans today. So, when a leopard picks up your scent in the night, somewhere deep in its nervous system, a very old alarm goes off. Not a thought exactly. It's not sitting there consciously thinking about human history, but an ancient, wired-in inherited signal that says, be careful around that thing. Don't engage. Move on. That alarm has been passed down from every ancestor of that leopard that survived a close encounter with humans. It's a biological memory, and it runs deep. Now, let's talk about your smell. You've probably never really thought about how you smell because you're surrounded by other humans all the time and you've normalized it completely. But to a predator operating with a nose that's anywhere from 10 times to 100,000 times more sensitive than yours depending on the species, you are broadcasting an enormous, detailed, and deeply strange chemical signal. Bears have a sense of smell estimated to be about 7 times stronger than a bloodhound's. Wolves can detect scents from nearly 2 miles away under the right conditions. Big cats have a specialized organ in the roof of their mouths, the Jacobson's organ, that essentially lets them taste the air and analyze chemical information at a level we can barely imagine. When these animals encounter a sleeping human, they are receiving a flood of olfactory data. And a lot of that data is just wrong. You smell wrong. You smell like synthetic fabrics like nylon and polyester and whatever chemicals were used in the manufacturing process. You smell like processed food, the meal you ate hours ago, the snacks in your bag. You smell like soap and shampoo and sunscreen and insect repellent, a cocktail of artificial compounds that has no analog anywhere in the natural world. Beneath all of that, underneath the layers of modern human life, you smell like a primate. Which is something, but it's not the thing. Not the deer or the wildebeest or the rabbit that these predators have evolved over millions of years to recognize and hunt. A predator's hunting instinct is not generic. It's not a vague desire to kill things that moves. It's a finely tuned system calibrated to specific prey. A wolf's predatory response is triggered by the movement patterns of ungulates. A lion's strike mechanism is activated by the shape and speed and smell of animals it has hunted thousands of times. You don't fit the pattern. You're not in the system. You're an anomaly. And anomalies trigger caution rather than aggression in most predators. There's also the campfire effect, which is one of the most underrated things humans have ever figured out. Fire is one of the only stimuli that produces a near-universal fear response across virtually all land animals. It's not a learned behavior. It's not something animals figure out from experience. It's innate. It's ancient. Animals that were afraid of fire in the wild survived wildfires by running. Animals that weren't afraid of fire didn't. The fear is so deeply embedded that laboratory-raised animals who have never been near fire in their lives will show avoidance behavior at the smell of smoke. It goes that deep into the evolutionary code. Humans discovered fire somewhere between 1 and 2 million years ago. And for most of that time, sleeping next to a fire has been standard operating procedure. We weren't doing it just for warmth or to cook. We were doing it, maybe without knowing it consciously, because it works as a repellent. A campfire doesn't just keep you warm, it broadcasts a signal into the surrounding dark that says something dangerous is here, something that controls fire, something that should be avoided. The predators got that message, and they've been getting it for so long that the message doesn't even need to be decoded anymore. It just triggers avoidance automatically. You figured that out before you figured out farming, before you figured out pottery or writing or architecture. Fire first. Smart move, honestly. Now let's tackle the biggest myth about predators, because movies have spent decades getting this completely wrong. Predators are not reckless. This is so important. The image of the apex predator as this fearless, unstoppable killing machine that attacks anything within range is fiction. Pure fiction. In reality, large predators are extraordinarily careful about what they engage with because they have to be. A lion doesn't have health insurance. A wolf doesn't have sick days. One serious injury, a broken leg, a deep bite wound, a damaged eye, can mean a slow death by starvation. In the wild, injuries don't heal at the vet. They either heal on their own while the animal somehow still has to eat and hunt, or they don't heal and the animal dies. This means every single decision a predator makes about whether to engage with something is a survival calculation. Is the caloric value of this target worth the risk of injury? Is this prey item familiar enough that I know how it will behave? Is the chance of a successful hunt high enough to justify the energy expenditure? A sleeping human fails this calculation in multiple ways. First, unfamiliarity. A predator is most confident attacking prey it knows. It's watched the prey animal